you to think about from now on is how fat or thin does my body want to be, not how do I force myself to be thin. So a famine will cause your body to want to be fat. Now, we don't have famines anymore, right? When was the last time anyone went through a famine? Can I see a show of hands? No? No famines? No, we don't have famines anymore. And when it's cold out, we can put on clothes and we live indoors. We don't have to worry about cold weather. And the reason why cold causes your body to want to hold on to fat is because fat is like an insulator. It keeps your body warm and protects you from the outside hostile cold environment. So fat acts as protection. Protection from famines, not having enough, and protection from a hostile environment. That's the purpose of fat. Now, we don't have those things anymore. We don't have famines, and we don't have cold weather that we have to worry about. But we still have this fat program, this fat switch that can activate, and we still have stresses. And sometimes, for some people, the stresses in our lives cause the exact same chemistry as a famine. And that could be a physical stress of not having enough to eat, like a diet or being nutritionally famine, or a mental or emotional stress, or many other things that we're going to talk about. But the stress causes the same chemistry as a famine. And when that happens, your body gets tricked into activating these fat programs. It gets tricked into activating these ancient survival programs. So like you're driving to work and it's rush hour traffic and you know you're going to be late and your boss is going to be mad at you, that's causing stress. And that stress is causing chemistry. And your body doesn't know what to do with that. Your body's designed, brilliantly designed to protect you from stress, from whatever the threat is. It doesn't know what the threat is. It just knows what the chemistry is that's being caused. And sometimes that chemistry is the same as the fat programs. So you're sitting there in work, in your car, you're not eating anything, you're getting fatter. Simply because we have these programs. Now, we also have a program inside of us that forces us to get thin. I call it the get thin or get eaten adaptation. And what that is if you were living, let's say you were living in a very different environment thousands of years ago. Let's say that it wasn't a famine, it was a warm tropical climate. Now, in a warm tropical climate, you don't need fat to keep you warm, right? To protect you from the cold. And there's delicious fruits. I was just in Thailand for a month doing a yoga retreat and meeting with this guy who's doing our Spanish website. And the fruit is just so incredible. I mean, there's so many different varieties of delicious papayas and this fruit called durian and langans. And you don't like durian? It smells, it stinks. It's so delicious. I'm a durian addict. People either love durian or hate durian. I love durian. But there's so many different fruits. You can fish. There's delicious. Everything's fresh. There's plenty of food. You don't need fat anymore. Now, in an environment like that, if you were living in an environment like that, your body would then say, we don't need to be 90 kilos. We can go back to 80 kilos, right? Because we don't need weight anymore. Those stresses aren't there activating your fat programs. There's no cold and there's plenty to eat. So if there's plenty to eat and you can eat whatever you want, and by the way, eating whatever you want whenever you want is a very natural state of being. It's only very recently that we stopped doing that. But if you were living in that environment and you could eat whatever you want whenever you want, it was warm, your body wouldn't want to be fat anymore. So your set point would go back to 80. Now let's take it a step further. Imagine in this living environment, there were wild tigers. And every couple of weeks or every couple of days, whatever, they came into your village and they chased you. And if you weren't lightning fast, you were dead. You know, I thought about it. But you don't really need to be faster than a tiger to escape being attacked. You just need to be faster than the guy running next to you. Right? Sorry, Bob. Always did like you. But you have to be fast. And if you're not lightning fast, you're dead. That's a different type of stress that causes different chemistry in your body. That chemistry alerts your body to the fact that if you are not thin, you are dead. I call it the get thin or get eaten adaptation. When that happens, your body goes, we need to be 60 kilos. We need to shed all our weight. It makes your body want to be thinner. So a famine is going to make your body want to be fatter, and a tiger is going to make your body want to be thinner. These are programs, survival programs that we have in our body to help us stay alive. What's the threat? Starving to death? Get fatter. Slow down your metabolism. Be sedentary. What's the threat? Tigers can eat you? Get thinner. You develop the metabolism of a greyhound. You just eat a little bit, you're like, I'm not hungry anymore. Your brain starts listening to your stomach. You have a little bit of food, and if you notice, like if you look at naturally thin people, and if you notice when they eat, you know, they'll eat milkshakes and they'll eat pizza and all this, but they just take a couple of bites, and it's sitting there. And you're staring at that pizza. Let me have two, you know, I can finish that in 30 seconds. You can't even focus on the conversation because I got that gorgeous pizza. And you've got your fat-free, wheat-free, Wheat Bix, whatever you're eating, you know? Burger without the bread and bread without the burger, whatever, and they're having their milkshake. And they're talking to you and they're really engaged in the conversation. You can't listen to a word they're saying. You know, you're just, what? Because their brain's listening. Their brain starts to listen to their stomach. Their metabolism speeds up. And they want to be active. And this is because that survival program is being activated. And what's interesting about stress, and nobody's ever been able to explain this, and I'm sure you've all noticed this, is the same stress will make one person fatter and another person thinner. You know those people, you know, that they get stressed and they start losing all that weight? Oh, I'm so stressed, I can't eat anything. You know, they just lose all that weight. You're like, great, it's so good for you. You know, so sorry to hear that. You know, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, I can't eat anything. It's because it's activating a different survival program inside their brain. It's the same stress, different adaptation, different program. And I remember when I was working on Wall Street, I had a business partner, and we worked in the same desk. He was right on the other side of me, and we worked together for 11 years. And the whole time I was working with him, I was getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and he was getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And this guy used to order milkshakes for lunch. You know, he'd call up and he'd go, what do you have today? I think I'll have a milkshake. You know, and he'd have this milkshake on his desk and have a couple sips. He'd be sitting there. And I'd be ordering my hamburger without the bun one week and my bun without the hamburger the next week. And I'd be trying to work and I'd be staring at this milkshake thinking, if I could just have 30 seconds, you know, suck that thing down, get a big old brain freeze. And it would just be sitting there. And he was getting thinner and thinner. But what was different about him than me is the way he reacted to stress. See, whenever things went wrong in the office, I would just sort of just sit there and just take it. Which, when you think about it, is very similar to the way you would react in a famine, right? If you're in a famine, you can't run away from it. You can't fight it. You just have to take it. You have to just sort of slow down. That's what I did. I just took it. I just sort of slowed down. But this guy, the slightest thing that would go wrong, and he would flail his arms. The fax machine wouldn't work, and he'd throw the fax machine on the ground. He'd go, fuck, Bernard, we need another fucking fax machine. And I'd say to him, well, Dave, Bernard's getting another fax machine. But the next time that happens, if you just press that green button, that's the start button. Shouldn't happen again. But everything, he would react. It was like he was in a battle. It's like he was in a war. And so we're sitting at the same desk, doing the same job and the same stress. But to my body, it was like I was in an Arctic wasteland starving to death. And to his body, he was in the African savannah fighting off tigers left and right. Lions. Someone reminded me last time that there are no tigers in the African savannah. Fighting off lions left and right. Same stress, different adaptations. So the key is to figure out what's activating the fat programs in you and turn those stresses off, and then to impose other stresses that will make your body activate the get thinner, get eaten adaptation. So in the Gabriel method, I talk about a number of stresses that can activate the fat programs. I'll just tell you them real quickly right now. Number one is dieting. Dieting activates the fat programs, right? Why? It's a famine. That's the whole point of the fat programs, is to protect you from famines. So great, it's brilliant logic. It makes sense. Calories in, calories out, cut your calories. Yes, wrong. Simply because it activates your body's fat programs. You lose weight, but your body wants to be fatter. So dieting forces you to gain weight. Or dieting gets your body to activate the fat programs. But you can be eating to your heart's content, but you can still be in a nutritional famine. You can still be in a nutritional famine. And that's because the food we eat today is nutritionally barren. It doesn't have the specific nutrients we need in a way that our bodies can digest and assimilate. It's invented food. Now, I'm not telling you to cut it out, but I am telling you to add foods that have the nutrients your body needs in a way your body can digest and assimilate, if your body's activating the fat programs because of a nutritional famine. So what happens is, when you're in a nutritional famine, your body stays hungry all the time looking for these specific nutrients, and you're not giving it to them. So it's not about calories in and calories out. And it's not about whether it's carbs, proteins, or fats. It's about what carbs, what proteins, what fats have the specific nutrients your body needs. So I have two very counterintuitive, counter to mainstream wisdom messages for the world about weight loss. Number one is that obesity is caused by starvation. I bet no one's ever told you that before. Starvation meaning in some way your body is being tricked into activating a starvation response. Obesity is caused by starvation. Number two, if it's caused by starvation, the solution isn't necessarily to cut foods out, but to add. Add the foods your body is starving for. So the only way you can be off the Gabriel method if there's a method, is if you're not adding every day the specific nutrients you need. You're not going to lose 20 kilos in 20 days doing that. But what's going to happen is you're going to address the real issue, and you will be less hungry over time. And you will speed up your metabolism. Your body will want to be thinner. So a nutritional famine can activate the fat programs. Toxins. Toxins activate your fat programs. We're swimming in a world of artificial toxins and thousands and thousands of toxins. Our body stores toxins in your fat cells. If you're taking in more toxins than you can eliminate, your body has to store them. Fat cells are a chemically neutral buffer environment that can protect your body from toxins. One study found that over 800 toxins in an average person's fat cell. When you're trying to lose weight and you're taking in too many toxins, your body will slow down the fat loss process because burning the fat causes you to release those toxins into your bloodstream. And your body's actually trying to protect you from your own poisons. So toxins can cause you to activate your fat programs. Medications. Certain medications will cause you to activate your fat programs. And what's interesting is I deal with a lot of people that, for example, that they might have, they're taking medication for bipolar disease. Now, the reason they have bipolar disease is because they don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids in their system. And that causes a lot of chemical brain malfunctions. And then they go on some sort of medication that causes you to gain weight. And there's lots of different medications, that not all, but there are a lot of different medications that cause you to gain weight. What I always try to encourage people to do is, by working with the Gabriel method principles of dealing with stress and adding nutrients and reducing toxins, working with your doctor to get off of medications. And people have gotten off of medications for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, asthma, all kinds of digestive problems, bipolar disease, depression, etc. Artificial ingredients, like aspartame and NutraSweet, we'll talk more about that, can activate the fat programs. Mental and emotional stress. Sometimes mental stress, every time you have stress, it causes chemistry of some sort in your body. Sometimes mental stress causes the exact same chemistry as a famine. And we're going to talk a lot about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to devise an approach that systematically gets your body to want to be thinner. So if your body wants to be, say, 110 kilograms right now, we're going to start adding nutrients. That's going to get your body to maybe only want to be 100 kilos. We're going to deal with mental and emotional stress. That's going to get your body to want to be 90 kilos. We're going to deal with toxins, medications, artificial ingredients, 80 kilos. We're going to impose stresses that get your body to want to be thinner, 60 kilos. So little by little, your body wants to be thinner and thinner and thinner until the whole process happens by itself. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to deal with the physical stresses that cause your body to want to be thin, cause your body to want to activate the fat programs, rather, and how to address those. Okay? Thank you very much.
What I found in the book was that it was kind of a necessary smack up the side of the head into the world of common sense. But the common sense part, I need to read it again, and I want to read it again after that, because I really want to convince my head that it's okay. It's okay to succeed at this one. You know, the fear of success comes with the weight and a whole lot of things. So I think this is going to fix a whole lot of problems that, just shift them into reality.
In January this year, my husband gave me the Gabriel Method book, and I haven't turned back. I've lost 20 kilos since January this year, and it's been wonderful. It's changed my life.